All right, hi Math 2. So for Wednesday's homework, we're still factoring, but then we're going to take it one step further and we're going to solve for x. So you guys should know how to factor right by now. We have a, b, and c. So remember, when we make our magic x, we put a times c in the top, and they're going to multiply to be a times c, and they're going to add to be b, and that number goes in the bottom. So a is 1 because it's not written, and c is 10, so 1 times 10 is 10, and then add to be b, which is negative 7. So when I think what can multiply to be 10, I know 1 times 10 is 10, and 2 times 5 is 10. So the only way I'm going to get to a 7 is to have 2 and 5 in the sides. Now, they both need to be negative because negative 2 plus negative 5 gives us that negative 7, and negative 2 times a negative 5, a negative times a negative, gives us that positive 10. Now, we always divide by a, but a in this case is 1, so dividing by 1 doesn't actually change the number. And we have two factors. We have x minus 2 is going to be one of our factors, and x minus 5 is going to be the other factor. Now, this is something that you have been doing for the past couple of days, and this is something you did in Math 1, so I expect that you know how to do this part. What you may have forgotten how to do is how to solve for x. Do you see how this is equal to 0 here? It has to be equal to 0 to factor, but if we take our factors and we set them equal to 0, we can actually solve for x. What you're solving for is actually your x-intercepts, or the solutions to this quadratic. So if I want to get x by itself in the first factor, x minus 2, the opposite of minus 2 is plus 2. And when I add 2 to both sides, the 2's cancel out. And so I'm just going to have x equals 2. Which means if I graph that quadratic, one of my x-intercepts is going to be at a positive 2. With the second factor, we have x minus 5 equals 0. The opposite of subtracting 5 is adding 5. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides, and I get x is equal to a positive 5, which means my second x-intercept, or the second place where that graph would cross the x-axis, is at positive 5. So repeat this whole thing. I should see this whole process in this box and in this box. That includes the magic x, this right here. And it includes showing the factoring. Show all your steps and repeat this exact problem 2 more times, and then flip your homework to the back and complete the 3 practice problems. It's the exact same process, just with different numbers.